Hi guys! One of the things that use the concept of density and layering liquids is cocktails. So when they try to create different colored liquids and they stack them up and it looks cool when you drink it, they actually use density as a concept. And you may have seen the rainbow shots. Like there's shot glasses lined up and then the bartender pours a drink that comes out the colors of the rainbow. I looked it up and apparently what they do is, so they put something red that's really heavy and then orange that's not as heavy and so on and so on. And what they use is, it's called grenadine red syrup at the bottom, and then you have to put a lot of ice. So you have to fill it up with lots of ice because that's going to help the liquid layer better, because it's not gonna go straight into the next layer. So the ice helps it disperse, helps it spread. So you have red grenadine and then lots of ice and then orange juice, and then they put the light liquids, which happens to be the one that has a high alcohol content. So it could be vodka, put it in, and then they top it off with a blue Curacao something, I can't remember. Anyway, they top it off with that, which is also heavy. But what they do is, immediately after pouring the blue thing in, it has to be poured out onto the shot glasses before it gets to all the way down all through the layers. Then you pour it out. If you do it right, you get rainbow shots. I tried to do that. I tried to improvise. I don't really have a lot of stuff here, but I couldn't do it. I just came up with a huge purple mess. It's pretty tricky. Hopefully the quarantine will end because I really want to try it. I don't encourage drinking alcohol. It is possible to do it with non-alcoholic beverages. As we've said, you just have to find the drinks with the right color and the right density. So you could use sugary drinks. If you remember from experiment 1, we've proven that if a drink has more sugar in it, more dissolved solutes in it, that it's heavier, it has a higher density, it's gonna sink to the bottom. So you can have sugar syrup, color it with food coloring, can have orange juice, non-alcoholic, and maybe some carbonated water. You've seen that Coke Zero it has density. Most of you got a density of less than 1, so it actually will float more to the top. If you have Sprite Zero, it has no sugar, then you could color it with some food coloring and it could be that liquid that you used to be on top of the rainbow shots. Anyway, I tried my best but I couldn't, so instead I'm just gonna make a cocktail, or not a cocktail, but a mocktail, non-alcoholic mocktail for you guys. Again, I don't have a lot of things here, but just trying to improvise. For my red, I'm gonna use strawberry jam. I added a bit of water so that's a bit liquid-ish. And then I have some pineapple juice. And for my blue, I'm gonna use butterfly PET. Butterfly PET. It's a tea that when you dissolve it in water, it turns the liquid blue. It's pretty popular these days. This actually has a pretty interesting property with regards to pH, so hopefully we'll get to that discussion at some point. But anyway, for now I'm just using it to give me a blue color. I'm going to start with my red at the bottom. And I have some pineapple juice for my orange. I'm going to try to put it as slowly as I can, just running it along the sides of the glass. And for my blue, so this is what the butterfly pea tea looks like now. I'm going to use a syringe to put this in. So this is just water. It has no sugar, very little dissolved solutes if any, just from the tea, which means that it would easily float on top. Okay, you can actually see it resisting mixing in with the pineapple juice. There you go. And there it is. That's my my quarantine cocktail, non-alcoholic quarantine cocktail. If you remember, it's not just the density. It's not just the density that is the factor that we're considering when trying to stack liquids. We also have to consider polarity. So these are all water-based. If you were making cocktails that are alcohol-based, that will still be polar. So alcohol is a polar molecule. water is also a polar molecule, which means that if I mix this up, it will mix, right? There you go. This is what my rainbow shots looked like earlier. As opposed to, for example, if you mixed up oil and water, since those two are immiscible, they would still eventually separate. This one, after mixing, it probably won't separate. Maybe some of the solids will settle down to the bottom. But unlike, different from that, oil and water, once you stir it and then you leave it, it's going to separate very clearly into the layers. Unless you make an emulsion with it. If the quarantine was lifted, and you'd have more choices with the kinds of drinks that you can use. What you can do also is you can check out the sugar content. So this one has 22 grams, and try to divide it by the serving size. Okay, so especially if you're trying to compare different drinks, you can't just compare the actual sugar that's written there. To give you a pretty good idea or a better number that you can compare, divide it by the total serving size. So this one would be 22 grams of sugar divided by 240 ml. So that gives you the concentration of the sugar. That's gonna be grams per ml, but just remember that that's not the density of the entire liquid, kasi that was just the mass of the sugar, not all of the components that you put in. But it will give you a pretty good estimate of the density of a liquid as compared to other liquids. Like if you have different juices or whatever energy drink, other colored drinks that you want to create a layered cocktail, you could do that. Weird. Makailangan ng ice. So thanks, and I hope you are well and safe. Stay safe, and hopefully we'll see the outside world again soon.